Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome to my studio. My name is Tommy. You've landed on my channel, Tommy Creates. Over here on my shoulder, I have Nessie. She's in a lot of my videos. I don't think she was on my first Flosstube, though. I was a little bit too nervous to deal with her. Today, she's going to be chewing on my necklace unless I can convince her to sit elsewhere. I've had such a great month. It's been so much fun. All the stitching that I've been doing. I've started a couple new projects. Some were planned, one wasn't, but that's how it goes, right? I made a bunch of project bags, which I'll show you as I show my whips. So I have 4 active whips that I'm going to show you that I touched this month. There was one that I didn't touch. And I've sort of got a pattern to when I stitch certain things now. So I'll talk about that as I go through. I had an excellent outing with some quilting friends. We went north to Auburn and I got a lot of hauls, so I'll show you that and tell you where I was. Hello, you're going to work it. She's very good at kinking the little wire that I use to make the necklaces out of, aren't you? You're a kinky bird, are you? Mwah. Okay, sit there. Okay. So let's just dive right into it. I'm going to start with my whips, the oldest one first, or no, I'm going to do like in the order that I worked on them during the month, is like I picked them up. So the bag for this next one is here. Can I get it in focus? There we go. Yeah. I sort of got the fabric upside down, but it doesn't show a whole lot, right? I just making up my own design here, so I kind of just looked at how other people were doing theirs on, you know, a couple different shops, and I'm definitely a newbie at it. I don't have my quilting doesn't match up, which is pretty frustrating. I'm learning. I enjoy making them, and what I'm doing is I'm only using I'm only using fabric that I've gotten as for free, or scraps, thrifted. I'm not using any new fabrics, like cut yardage that I bought kind of thing. The linings are all they don't really match very well, but it's like fabric that I really can't use for anything else. Like maybe it's a poly cotton, or maybe it's got a little bit of a sun fading on it. And these are just for my personal use, so it doesn't matter. So in this hydrangea bag, okay, don't chew on my chin, please. I have it's called 100 squares, but I'm only doing 99. I have decided to do only 99. Catch the light a little bit. Ah, there we go. That looks cool, doesn't it? I am really pleased with this project. I had some, in some lights, the fabric and the floss are all just a little too much in the same value, right? Like they're all a little bit too close to the same value. So some of them tend to disappear. The more I do, the more I kind of like that. I almost stopped after the first block here on this side. I did them in 3 9x9 chunks, and I'll do, down two more chunks of 9x9 to get my 90 squares. But I like it, and I have a few more pastels to add in. That's not all the options, so there's not going to be. I mean, they're going to be repeated, but not 100 times. So I'm liking it, and I'm learning a lot. If you watched the Flosstube one, I talked about how this is like a sort of a sampler for me to like kind of get used to what a chart looks like, and then how it stitches out. Like charts always look a little more blocky, and I like small stitches, so I don't like that pixely look too much. And so this project is helping me kind of see like how it translates from the boxy pixely chart to the stitched on fabric, much more soft look to it. So I think that's it's going well. That's pretty much successful. I don't know if I'll pick that up in the next couple weeks or not. I might, depending on how some other things go. Okay, we'll put this over here. I can reach behind me. And behind me, you can see my current hand quilting project, which I'm not quite ready to show yet because it's still in a little bit of an undecided mode. But that's a story for another day. Next, I have in this bag, which I had made last time, but I didn't, for some reason I didn't show. And this one, this was my very first one. I had really ugly corners, so I went back and I made them round, and I really actually like that round look. And I did manage to get the fabric right side up on this one. Hey, quit eating my beads, please. Sit up here. Oh, where are you gonna go? Oh, up there. Okay. You're kind of a pain in the neck. You are. You're kind of a pain in the neck. So this one has like a really light purple print on the back, and the lining is a chambray blue, like it's a poly cotton shirting fabric. Again, all this thrifted free fabric. And so in that bag I have this, which I'm showing better this time because last time I don't think it really translated very well. Let's see, am I going to aim it toward, there we go, it's a little bit better. So this is called sampler number 63, which is kind of a silly name for it. I call it dragons. I'm making it for my son Luke. And this is designed by 2x2 Stitch Art on Etsy. Oh, I didn't say on the last one the last one was on 28 count Aida that I dyed myself. So this one is on 18 count white Aida. This is my very first project. And I like the 18 count. I think it works pretty well. So I'm 52.56% of the way done. I'm hoping to have it ready for his birthday on June 8th. So I'm kind of have to get a move on, but it's totally doable. It's totally doable. So the last 2 weeks, I've been working on it as my morning stitch because I have to make sure he's out of the house. So I can't, he's a very observant young man. So I work on it while I'm drinking my tea in the morning, and I try to get like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 threads in it. And it goes pretty quick because it's the monochrome. So yeah, I'm liking that one a lot. Not used to all this talking. Okay, so let's see. Let's put those. Nessie has had a bit of an upheaval in her life. Her cage has been moved into the dining room because she was getting lonely. I wasn't spending as much time here in the studio because now that the weather's a little nicer, I've been sitting on the porch to stitch. And of course, you know, it's the porch and she would fly away. So I can't have her out. I have a little teeny cage for her, and she comes out for a while. She's not quite used to it yet. She gets a little upset by the wind in particular, seems to bother her. So she's adjusting to living in the dining room, which is really like a pass-through room in the house. My son does his homework in there, and so he sits right by her cage. And she screams at him every time he squeaks his chair. It's really funny. Okay, so this next one was the one I planned on starting when I sort of ended my last Flosstube. Nessie, that tea is hot. You're gonna burn your little tongue. Here, come on. So this one I was really excited to start. It's become my weekend stitch. My goal is to get 1,085 stitches a week for 5 years on it because it is a full coverage. And this is my map of Middle Earth. I started down in the bottom left-hand corner. And I don't know if you can really see. Here, let me get this. Everything's backwards. I'm sorry. There we go. There we go. I am not a very good stitcher yet. It's lumpy. I've screwed up a lot. This across the bottom, this here is Elvish text. And I'm glad that most people can't read Elvish because I don't think it's anything the way it's supposed to be. I've kind of been doing cross country, and then I decided, well, I'll just do a page at a time, and at the bottom of, at the bottom of the map, and so, I don't know. I think I'm gonna try doing diagonal, like just here. Let me switch hands. So, going across here. This way, diagonal left to right from the bottom corner. So right there is T for Tolkien. And there's little gaps you see. There were a couple colors that I couldn't find at my local Michael's. So I figured I'd just start because there were ones that I didn't need a lot of anyway. So there's just a few spots that I'll need to fill in. But yeah, next weekend when I get back into it, I'm going to do diagonal starting in this section here. And hopefully that will work better. I don't know. My mind just doesn't count very well. Which, it's kind of a silly hobby to have if you can't count, but oh well. Hi, you're in my way again. Look how pretty Nessie looks on this bag. Look how pretty she is. Isn't she pretty? This is the bag for the map. And this was actually a fat quarter, but I got it at the reuse center in the Finger Lakes Reuse Center. Focus, focus, focus. If it sees my face, maybe if I go off this side, there we go. Now it's focused. It kind of matches my outfit today, doesn't it? I didn't do that on purpose, but I do have colors that I like a lot, right? All right, so this one again is like, look at this crookedness up here. Oh, bad, but whatever. I'm not selling them. Maybe I'll sell them someday, and after I figured out how to be like accurate and all that. But I really like this fabric, and it was a fat quarter, and at the Finger Lakes Reuse, they have the Community Quilt Making Center, and the ladies there, I'm a volunteer with them, but I don't do much compared to what some of these ladies do. It's basically a free quilting lessons and free fabric for your first project or for the demonstration project. They give fabric, and it's open to anybody. It's an awesome center, and it's located in the Finger Lakes Reuse Center in the Trip Hammer Marketplace in Lansing. We call it the Yellow Mall because all the signs outside are yellow, but that's not what it's called. So if I call it that, I'm sorry. And I'll link to the website. They're a great organization, the Reuse organization. I love them. And the Community Quilt Making Ladies, it's a separate group. We just function inside the Reuse Center. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. I think that's the last thing I need for this. I hope I don't make my quilt frame collapse there behind me. Okay, so this last one was an unexpected start. I was stitching and watching Flosstube, and I found the Dutch Stitcher. I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, but she is awesome. I love her projects. I love how she presents things. Her pace is really nice. And she's an interesting person. And so she had started this. Let's see, can I get it? There we go. There we go. So this is the mock-up picture when you download the pattern. It's a modern folk embroidery. Hello. Hello. Okay. It's a modern folk embroidery pattern. I got the PDF. I've only done a little tiny like practice thing with a paper pattern. I'm I'm glad that I've got PDFs and markup XP. So that's called The Wings of the Dove for Modern Folk Embroidery. I'm doing it on 30 count Zweigart flax linen, and it's the colorway Jacobstad, and I bought it from Jackson Fabric Arts on Etsy. So this I've got on a scroll frame, which I got as part of my haul. Can you believe I got this whole frame for $4 at the That's crazy, isn't it? So I've got a pretty good start. My stitches aren't very good. I'm doing it 1/1. I don't know. I just can't get my head around 2 any linen. I just can't get it. So this is a really small piece of linen. I think it's like an eighth, a fat eighth or something. But it's coming along. My husband really likes this one. He kind of thinks I'm nuts because it's so tiny. And the stitches are uneven. And I haven't really got the hang of putting the fabric on the frame. I think I'm going to have to watch a few more videos and kind of do it again. It's okay. It's okay, but it's not... She flew for her cage and she forgot it wasn't here, and she landed where she shouldn't land, so she's okay. You're okay. She didn't crash. Sometimes she crashes when she gets confused. She's not a very experienced flyer. When I got her, she had her wing feathers clipped, which is like the stupidest thing ever. If you get a bird, it's a bird. It can fly. That's why you get it, is because birds fly. She's a bird and she flies, which is annoying. And you know, it's kind of like dogs. They bark. It's annoying, but we love them, right? We don't like take their tongues out. Okay, you're gonna get tangled in my hair now. You totally distracted me. I am totally distracted. I don't remember what I was saying. Anyway, I got the pattern idea. I saw it first from the Dutch Stitcher, and she was talking about why she was looking for a piece because of the turmoil in the world, which there's a lot of turmoil in the world, and so she needed something that she could kind of meditate on a piece while doing. Mine's not. I'm looking off to the side at it. It's right. Maybe I can move it so you can see it. Can I do that? Woo! Nessie is scared of the frame. I think that's the problem. Yeah. So, you know, she had talked about needing something that she could meditate on piece, and I felt that in that moment. I was like, yeah, I'm all there. And so before I even finished watching her video, I had gone and found the pattern and downloaded it because I knew I had a fabric that would work. I knew I had this fabric. This was the first fabric I bought, actually, and when I got it, I realized I didn't have any idea what I was doing. So I had to wait, a month before I used it. So yeah, so thank you to her for this great idea. It's not meditative for me yet, but hopefully by the time I'm halfway through with it, I will be good enough at making even stitches and finding my thread path and all that stuff that, Nessie, you're really being annoying today, that it will be more meditative for me. So those are, oh wait, I didn't show you the bag for that. This one, I love this fabric. Now this fabric is not recently thrifted. I honestly don't remember where it came from, but I've had it in my stash for quite a while, and it's, oh, I know. I made a quilt, and this was one of the focal fabrics in the quilt. And the back of it is covered with little pieces of hair because I cut my son's hair and there was wind blowing, and apparently I stitched this outside on my porch exclusively because it's so dark. It's so hard to see, but when I'm on the porch, you know, the light shines through the back, and if I can't figure out where my stitches are, I just hold it up to the light, and I can think the needle in, and hopefully I don't have to do that too often, but I do. I really need to do it outside. I've got good lights here in the studio. I've got a good light next to the chair that I stitch on inside, but it's just not enough for that dark linen, which is, you know, I want to stitch outside anyway, so it's not like it's a bad thing. I'll do haul last because I have to get up and move everything. So I talked last time about how, you know, I can't stop designing things. You know, anytime I get involved in a new craft, my brain just kind of goes, woo, and starts making things. And so, look at this, look at this. She loves to be petted on the head as she like leans on me. So I've of course been thinking more and more, and I'm having more solidified ideas about what I might want to design and how I might want to present that. So, you know, I've made lists of all these things that, like, if I was to make a sampler based on my life, what are my little doodads and symbols and things. So I've got a whole list of those things. And I realized after I had written this extensive list, I mean, I didn't do it all at once. I've been adding to it as I think of things. My brain kind of, you know, it goes in circles. So I have this little notebook. I don't like a big notebook because they're clunky, but I have like a dozen of these. And so I always have one next to where I'm sitting. And that's the only way to capture these thoughts I have. So I realized a lot of these things on this list that I had made for myself were things that I had first glommed onto because of my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. Her name was Bessie. She hated her name. She told me, "Don't you dare name your child after me. It's a cow's name." So if I ever have a cow, I'm going to name it Bessie. She would love that. She was an absolute firecracker. I loved my grandma. I mean, she wasn't exactly a nice person, but she was always herself and never apologetic. And that was something I really needed to see in a woman when I was growing up. My mom was not, she was very much herself, but she was kind of shy about it. My grandmother wasn't shy. And she encouraged me. She taught me how to knit when I was very young. That was one of the first crafts that I learned. She used to give me the little teeny balls that she'd end up with after knitting. And when she died, I got a couple garbage bags full of scraps of yarn. It was awesome when I got that, going through it, and I used most of it over the years. I made little things for the kids, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of the imagery that I was writing down related to my grandma. So I decided that my first set of designs would kind of be in homage to her. So the first one that I'm going to do, I've done a couple sketches, and so this, I back up. I have three designs that I want to do for her. I'm going to start with one that, let's see if I can find the original. I don't have the original. I'll insert, or maybe over the whole thing. I drew on Procreate, and that I record, so I have like a time lapse of me drawing the central motif for the first piece that I want to do. And it's a planter, and the reason for that is that she had this clover leaf, like the oxalis, the green oxalis, 4-leaf clover plant. And there was this family story that, you know, some aunt a couple generations back had brought it from the home country in her bra. It's not like an Ireland
plant. It's not. So, but the story is quite charming. And then I've managed to not. I kept it alive until last year and it died. And I feel really terrible about it because it was an ancient plant. Like it was 70 years old and I killed it. But I still have the planter. And she had, in her house, she had a very distinctive China pattern, the Blue Danube China pattern. She's biting me. You gonna stop biting me now that you're on camera? Yeah, thank you. Good. So I've got this empty planter and it has her China pattern on it. And so I'm gonna, the planter will be the central motif, and I have another one of those plants that's in purple, so I'll use that as my reference to do the drawing, but I'll make it green. So it's going to be blue and white and then a beautiful green, and that'll just be like one motif, maybe with a border. Keep it pretty simple. And then the next design will be more complicated, and I have a sketch of that here. Oh, is it gonna focus? I can't even see what I'm doing. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So it's a really rough sketch. Sketches are ideas, right? So this is the planter in the center. These are the clover leaves coming out of it. I have it on steps. She had a concrete back porch, and then next to the porch steps was this climbing clematis vine. So I'm going to incorporate that somehow in like a half border. And then the other side, she had, what was on this side? The porch had those old wrought iron railings. So I'll do something, and this is all based on memory, right? So it's going to be my childhood memory of what her porch looked like. Just some details, She also had a rose garden in that part of the yard. So that's the third thing that I'm going to do is I want to do an actual like big sampler, and that's down the road because I know I don't have the skills to stitch something like that. I just don't have the skills yet. So that's down the road. But the other two, I think I can design and start stitching. It's exciting to do these things. I've struggled with my painting practice for a long time, and drawing, that the things that I really want to show are these personal little innocuous things. And I'm not interested in doing super realistic, still life paintings, or, I just, it doesn't work in oil paint. A lot of what I want to do, the space that I create and the things that are interesting to me, they are actually very well suited to cross stitch patterns. And, just all of these little personal things that mean a lot to me, that are precious, that have become symbols of my life. As a child playing under, we had tons of sugar maple trees, and I would just collect all the little samaras, the little wing helicopter things, and I've been drawing them and painting them for decades now. And sometimes that's worked, but I think, I could turn that into a really lovely border, or, just like all those little things that I find so meaningful. And I guess it's sentimental, but I think that cross stitching is quite sentimental. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Battery, camera, not paying attention. So yeah, I feel very I feel very encouraged. It's been a real struggle for me finding a way to share my love and skill, and it's important to share these things, like the impulse to show and to share. Obviously, look at YouTube. Like, how many people who are otherwise complete introverts, like myself, like a lot of you probably, you know, I think, but the impulse to share and to express through making is so profound. It's so important. And I'm really glad to have finally sort of let myself come off the stupid fine art pedestal and do what's really important. It's really important to make art for people who are just living life. I don't think I don't find that in galleries anymore. Not big, successful. No. Nobody can understand it. I can't understand somebody's art statement beside their whatever it is, you know, contemporary assemblage. And it might be something that's really cool looking, but then I read the description and I'm like, that kind of ruins it for me. I don't feel like we should have to have written explanations next to everything that we do. I just don't. Do you want some tea? She loves it. I have to wait until it cools down a little bit because she'll dive right in and then she hurts herself. Okay, that's enough. I get some too. All right, so enough chitter chatter about that. Get me all up in my soapbox. I probably turn bright red. I get so indignant. So I am going to stop and I'm going to reassemble. I'm going to put all my haul out here and show you. And then, you know, I swore I wouldn't do haul videos. I swore I wouldn't, but I never do this. I never go out and just get a bunch of stuff. But this was an awesome opportunity, so I did. I got a bunch of stuff. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Like I said, I don't normally go out and buy a bunch of stuff, but the first thing I got was from the Ithaca Reuse Center, the quilting community area, and somebody, okay, why don't you sit on my shoulder? A lady had brought in, one of the volunteers actually had brought in a bunch of her batiks. And so, like, the thing is, when you're a volunteer, you have to wait until everything's out on the floor before you can purchase it. But then you know exactly when it's going on the floor. And so I usually do not take advantage of that. I usually, you know, like, no, that's one reason I volunteer. I want this stuff to be out in the community. But I have been making an effort to build up my stash, and I've decided that I really, for what I plan on doing in the near future, as far as like art type wall hanging quilts, I want to use a lot of batiks in combination with some of the other like more calico-y stuff that I already have. And so this was just a golden opportunity to get this stack, and it was only $8, and there's probably at least 3 or 4 yards worth of little bits and pieces here. So I'm gonna put that just straight into my stash. I don't have any plans for it right now, but I know I will. I know I will. All right, set this off to the side. Have some more tea. Hello, Nessie. Okay, so the next place that we went, it's called So What, SEW. I'll link their website in the description box down below. I had never been there before. It was their 4-year anniversary sale weekend. So I went with my new quilty friends. I have friends now. I haven't had friends before, like a group, since I was in college, and it's just, it's really nice to be with a group of people who have similar, at least some similar interests, and get excited about things that I get excited about, you know. I have other friends, but they don't do what I do, so you know, they appreciate what I do, but they don't really get excited about it. So it was really fun just because of that. I'd never been there. and it was packed. It was packed with all kinds of stuff and lots of people and everybody getting excited about all their finds. So that was wonderful. So yeah, I'll show you what I got. I spent $37.50. Wait till you see what all I got for $37.50. Okay, probably the most exciting thing is, now the bowl, they didn't come in the bowl. I just purchased, or just used a bowl I have around. There are, I don't know, I counted 100 because they were 4 for 25 cents. What's that, like not even 7 cents a piece, right? So they had them, they were all different brands and everything all kind of tossed together by color. You know, they had bins by color. And so I just found as many DMCs. You know, I tried to get one of each, not get too many duplicates. It took me a long time to go through. Like, look at that. It's so pretty. Look at all those colors. And it just, you know, because I'm thinking about design, it's even more exciting because now I can just pull some colors, and at least enough to get me started with something, you know? So wonderful. 25 cents a piece, $12.50 for 100 skeins. And most of them are brand new skeins. Most of them have not been dug into at all. So that's really cool. And I didn't see any like other premium brands there. They had a bunch of older ones like JP Coats and a lot of generic stuff, which I will try in the future, I'm sure, when, you know, but I really want to work on getting a DMC full set as soon as I can. You know, I'm gonna move this. I have a monitor off to the side. That's why I keep looking over there. It doesn't quite fit like right in front of me underneath the camera lens. So I try to look at the lens and not at myself in the monitor, which is hard. Okay, so embroidery floss, fantastic find, right? Okay, so some little things. Thread, they had tons of thread, but they had it like right at the checkout counter and there was such a line. I really didn't spend any time looking at that. I got rings for floss, cards. I got, I think this is a Nurge hoop, this way. It doesn't say on it. It might just be some generic one. I think this is, I'm going to use this one when I hoop up the dragon piece again for tomorrow morning. I think those long borders will work really nicely in there. I won't have to move the hoop quite as often. And this is a wooden hoop. It doesn't have a brand on it either, but it's definitely a nicer quality wood than anything I've seen in any of the big box stores, and it was 25 cents. I think this is the last of the cross-stitching stuff, yeah. So I got a couple pieces of, ooh, hello, hi, you're fast. Ah, she landed in a good spot, so she's okay. She's got like, I've put things in front of the windows so she doesn't just like face plant into the windows. So yeah, 2 rolls of, I think they're both Aida. No, this is 28 count even weave, MC bifocals, MCG textiles. Not sure. And then this one is an Aida, but it doesn't say what count it is. Oh, it does. 22 count. So I like that. If anybody knows a source for even weave that is not mixed with viscose or any of those, I know they're supposed to be like natural, but the process to make that stuff is super chemical laden. And even though it starts out maybe as wood, it just bears no resemblance to a natural product when it's done. I refuse to put money like into new anything synthetic. I just don't do it. So if anybody has like knows where to find an even weave that's cotton, or, you know, I guess linen's the only other choice, but I haven't found anything. So that's why I've been buying the Aida, the higher count Aida, which I found because it's cotton. Part of the reason I want to dye it, you know, I think that's why a lot of people, when they dye even weave, they talk about how it comes out really light. Well, it's because it's not all cotton, and the, like, a RIT dye is only going to work on the cotton fibers in that fabric. So you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. Okay, moving on. This is something I've seen off and on and thought, oh yeah, but then they're always, you know, expensive. This was $2.50 after the sale. So this is for machine quilting, which is something I struggle with. And with the world as it is, I've decided not to go down the route of becoming a long arm quilter. The investment is way too high with unsteady economies and stuff. So when my mom passed away, I inherited all of her stash, a lot of which was things that she had taken apart and kept, like zippers and buttons and, you know, pieces of denim to make patches out of. There were plastic pants, like that, like in the old days they used to put like plastic underpants on over a cloth diaper. And so there were those which she was going to put new elastic on at some point, and they just got buried in her bag. But there were dozens of zippers, and I've pretty much like used the ones that were usable and donated the ones that I didn't want to use, like zippers for jeans, like heavy metal. It's not something I would ever use. So I replenished my zipper supply because I've been making these bags, these project bags, and I've used all of my zippers except for a couple really short ones. So this was a great find. I don't remember how much they were each, but not much. And the same goes for bias tape. Woo, throwing it here, losing my. There was a lot more. I just grabbed ones that I know, like I have fabric that I might make project bags with. One of the big things that I don't like about these bags I've been making is I don't have a serger, and so the seam on the inside is raw, and it's too thick to get through with my pinking shears, and so I want to put binding on, and so it doesn't have to match exactly. It's going to be on the inside of any bags I make, but you know, sort of match is good. Some ribbon was really cheap. I have a piece that I made for my daughter that I need to finish up. A regular embroidery piece, not a cross stitch. I'll dig it out one of these days. And then these two little things. This I think is a pull for like a fan cord, but the ladies were like, "Oh, it looks like your jewelry," and they're so right. Look at that. How cool is that? I could make another red necklace. And then this, I don't know what this is, but it's cool, and so it'll land on something someday. And then these, I'm planning on making some porch curtains, and I decided to make like Roman shades instead of pulling them to the side, because we have a grill out there, and I don't want the fabric to be anywhere near the grill. So the blinds makes a lot more sense. So that's what those are for. There were just some. I didn't look at the fabric too much because there were so many people there, and a lot of them were staged in front of the fabric. So next time I go, I'll focus more on the fabric bits. But I got these three. Like, this is totally my color. These ones, yeah, my color. And I can make project bags out of these. I think I've got enough of this one to maybe make a summer blouse or something. Not that I wear blouses that often. And then this was a great find. This also works in the frame I showed earlier with the Wings of the Dove piece. This is much better quality one though. The wood is much nicer, and the hardware is covered. That's my one complaint with the frame, is that the little wing nuts are very sharp, and they dig in, and they're not very thread friendly. So let's see, that was that was all of the haul. So yeah, for $37.50, all that stuff. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really, and thank you to all the ladies for getting me out of the house. I was telling them that we were coming out. We took a group picture for one of the ladies that couldn't be there. She kind of started the whole group. And, you know, I'm standing there with these ladies, and it's a sunny day, and, you know, I was tired at that point. But, you know, I told one of them, like, I could not have done this even 2 years ago. My health was way too bad, both physical and mental. I was just a nervous wreck, to put a mild spin on it. And so to have come so far in a few years, like the last 3 years, I've really changed things. And that's partly why I'm here, because I want to encourage people who maybe are in a similar situation where your health is really terrible and you can't get out, and you don't have money to shop because you don't have a job or enough of a job. But you need some solace for your soul. You need that. Creative energy is amazingly healing, and I wanna help anybody who might need that in any way I can. So please, you know, if you have questions in the comments, if you just, you know, I'm happy to answer any question as long as you're nice to me. I haven't had any trolls yet, so that's good. I don't have a thick skin. I don't. So eventually a troll will affect me, I'm sure, but I won't let him stop me. Well, I think I've covered everything for today. Plans. I'm just going to keep on doing the same. I'll probably start another new one. Probably the Slavic goddess that I showed last time. I kind of have a hankering to start that one. And now I've got this frame. I think it will fit in this frame. So I'm going to work on that. In the next, I've been stitching so much. I think that I might do these every other week instead of once a month. We'll see. So maybe you'll see me again in 2 weeks. Thank you for sticking all the way through this. I really appreciate it. I appreciate this community, and it's good to be part of a community. All right. Thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate you being here. Nessie's done with me at the moment. I'm boring. And well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Check out my other videos. Maybe subscribe, get some alerts. I've been putting out more and more. I'm getting better at it. So I've got a couple quilting videos out. I've got a couple planned, like within a week they'll be out. So check in, and I'll see you again.